Okay, this is how I caught the market reversal on Friday, October 10th on GU, and the same thing actually happened on US 30 as well. The way that I mark up my charts basically told me that this big reversal was going to happen, and this is how I knew it. So basically, I start with trend lines on the higher time frames, like the weekly or the monthly. And as you can see here, this week we hit the first trend line, and that's what caused the big shift downwards. Here's the market structure of the area, and then that is the break of structure that happened. Um, so yeah, you pretty much already knew that you were looking for major sells at some point during the week. Um, and I will go on the lower time frames to show how I found my entries. All right, so yeah, you already knew that it was going to be bearish just based on this, just based on trend lines and market structure off the weekly, honestly. But going down to the daily, let's do our support and resistance lines. Try to get some entries that I found. So here I am just marking up previous support and resistances, just following market structure like I did on the weekly. Um, yep, so these were my areas coming into the week. Another one, this was a major one because you can see so much activity right there on that support. All right, and so here we go. After those are marked up on the daily, this is what it looks like. So you can see clear as day, structure gets broken, then goes back to retest that trend line. And then, yeah, you can pretty much expect major sells from then on. All right. So another thing that I like to find are spinning tops. These candles right here, where market was a bit indecisive, those make for very good order blocks. There was a spinning top right there at the top, and then right on that first break of structure. And then this is me marking out more spinning tops where price came down to retest, like when the trend was going upwards. Here it is. Another one comes back to retest it. So the same thing is basically happening up here with these spinning top candles. So, yep, let's go down to the 4 hour and see more entries. Okay, so from here, still following market structure, I pretty much just stopped trading and waited for market to tell me what it was going to do around this area in July. For as far as because I knew the trend line was right there, so you just have to basically be patient. And then here it goes, where it broke 4 hour support. Again, this is swing trading, so you can hold these trades for a week, 2 weeks sometimes. This is where 4 hour support was broken. And this happened on July 10th. So that 4 hour support happened, 4 hour broken support happened on July 10th. And pretty much you're just waiting patiently for it to come back to that spinning top, remember? So on July 23rd, I get a notification saying that it has entered my area. And going down to the lower time frames for entries, I take entries off the 15-minute or the 5. On this particular day, as it came into my area, there was a clear break of structure on the 15-minute, letting me know that I could now get into this cell. So this would have been my entry after that break of structure. My entry is on coming out of that spinning top on the daily that I marked up. And then, of course, since this is a daily move, your take profit will be the next area, unless it goes through that area on a higher time frame. Then it'll be even lower to the next support and resistance area. So here, it maintains structure on the 4 hour and eventually ends up falling through that support all the way down to the next one. Again, these are swing trades, but this one only took about a week or so. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days. But as you can see, if you're patient when working with these higher time frames, the risk to reward ratio is a lot better than if you're like on the lower time frames. You just pretty much set alerts for when it comes to your area, and yeah. So where we were on, okay, this is pretty much just what happened over the next like month or so. Once it clears out that first, once it clears that first spinning top, you know that it has to go back to the, well, no, once it clears the second spinning top, you know that it has to go back to the first bigger one, because the bigger reversal is coming. So it needs to take as much liquidity as possible before the bigger reversal. Also on the weekly chart, this is where the break of structure happened. So you knew that the bigger reversal was coming as well. This is me just showing that you could have taken buyer orders and not necessarily had to wait for it to come back to your spinning top candle on the daily. Okay, so again, going down to the 15-minute, once it gets to your support and resistance areas, you can clearly see another break of structure. Here is where you could have caught those buys back up to the spinning top. So here I am on the 15-minute, and then up to the 4 hour. Again, you can go right back to your starting area for a decent trade. Again, these are swing trades. They do take a little bit of time to play out, but it's better than like waiting all week to catch 10 trades when you can catch all of them in one, pretty much. So this is where the break of structure was apparent on the weekly, so you knew that there was going to be a big pullback before the incoming reversal for sales. Again, going down to the 15-minute when it comes into that area, and it also retests that trend line. This is how you knew that the sales were going to absolutely kill this week. So on, and this is a trade that you could have been holding for weeks. Going down to the 5 just to show you even more reason why this would have been a good entry point. 1 is the spinning top. 2 is hitting a trend line. 3, look at the candles. You have a bearish engulfing twice as it breaks below that trend line, and then again breaks structure. Gonna mark that off. And yeah, I mean, there were so many reasons to get into this trade, to get into sales for long term. This wasn't something that just randomly happened. This was in play for a week. These sales have been in play for a week or two now. So it's just we finally got a big drop off, and that made everyone pay attention, I guess. So again, yeah, here's getting that entry, and then of course you have to go back to the daily because this is a daily time frame trade. It started with daily break of structure, weekly and daily break of structures, the daily spinning top. So you have to consider a daily target. So this is currently where we're at in this trade. And zooming out, I do look forward to go to the bottom trend line, although it's not absolutely necessary. Because of course, if you throw a Fibonacci on it, that area between the 50 and the 61.8% is usually like a golden area to buy from. So all of these confluences pretty much let you know that this could possibly be the next long-term take profit for swing traders. But also, I'd like to add that if this stops at that lower, at that last support level on the 38.2% fib level, and it starts going upwards and breaking resistance, then you'll just have to buy from that area. And it may not go down to that bottom trend line. So you do have to look and watch out for market reversals. But if all goes well, this should be the long-term take profit on GU. You can also, if you do like this same kind of charting on US 30, you'll see that there was a 4-hour spinning top that got hit it formed on October 9th and then got hit on October 10th. As soon as market opened, and then that lets you know that you were going to be in sales right there. So that major fall off was actually very predictable on GU and US 30, in my opinion. On US 30, it hit a trend line just like this as well at the top. So, I mean, yeah, you can pretty much see when things are like have been in play for like the last week or so on pairs like this. The spinning top